customer success and sales are going to get much more tightly integrated together.
Industry leaders are using customer success as a core revenue driver, and Gainsight CEO Nick Mehta explains how to do it right. Welcome to the Forecast. I'm Molly St. Louis, and today we're going to talk about how impeccable customer success can skyrocket your ARR. The Customer Success Economy by Nick Mehta and Allison Pickens explains a remarkable paradigm shift in the way that we sell. Customers are no longer stuck with the vendors they bought because technology transformed the category for customers. They are now at the core of the business model. Customer success as a value prop, profession, and search topic has exploded in popularity over the past 5 months. The predominant reason has to do with the advent of the B2B SaaS model. The customer success category, however, was largely championed by Nick Mehta and the Gainsight team. So we're lucky to speak with the most knowledgeable subject matter expert in the entire industry. Welcome, Nick Mehta, CEO of Gainsight. Nick, thank you so much for joining us on the Forecast.
Great to see you, Molly. Thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
How have you seen customer success evolve into a top revenue generator?
Yeah, it's interesting because customer success really it has evolved a lot. You know, if I say the term customer success to many people, they might think, oh yeah, customer support. That's kind of, making sure customers are not mad at you. That's kind of the old bar. Think of the bar that you might have with your cable company. It's like, okay, if I leave that call not totally upset, that's like a win, right? And that's my typical experience. And so over time, what happened is in the business models where customers get the power, you think of like SaaS, you think of cloud, you think of any model where you have the decision making, right? Then the whole thing shifts, because if I'm not making you successful, I'm not going to be able to keep you. I'm not going to be able to grow with you. Versus that cable example where whether I like them or not, I still have to use them because they're kind of a monopoly, right? That's the difference. And that's basically kind of going from a defense to offense and going from this customer sat, preventing you from leaving, making sure you're not unhappy, to this customer success, which is make sure you're getting a lot of value so you want to actually grow with me. And that's why, people think of customer success now as kind of going from defense to offense and going from almost like a cost center to being a core part of driving revenue inside a company.
And what do you see your best customers doing to retain their customer base? Are you seeing any trends?
I mean, there's so many trends. So this is my whole life, written books on it. But I'll give you three things that I see people, if you want to just pick three very specific things. One is onboarding. So obviously, that first 7 days, that first 1 day, that first 30 days is so critical. And so a lot of companies are really looking at that onboarding journey and they're actually looking at how do I deliver a really consistent, high quality experience? And how do I automate some of that? How do I streamline onboarding and really make it very consistent? The second thing people are really kind of very passionate about right now is that executive alignment. So, you sell to an executive in most product categories and they get handed off to their team, right? And then you lose sight of like, what are their goals and how are they feeling? And by the way, there might be an executive change. There might be a new executive. So second thing companies do really well when they do this well is focus on that executive alignment, tracking when the executive changes, getting connected to the new executive, having an ongoing outreach and cadence of staying in touch with the executive, staying connected to their goals. Speaking of goals, the third thing that the best companies do is they don't just talk about product usage or issues when they meet with the client. They don't just do a review of like what feature you're using. They translate that to value the customer cares about. So they're tracking like what were the client's goals when they bought. They're mapping them to what we've done so far. And they can show that client, here's the business value we're driving. And here's how we can drive more value with you, maybe if you invest more in the product. So those three core tips: onboarding, kind of alignment with your executives, and then driving not just adoption, but value.
Mm-hmm. Those are really good takeaways, Nick. And I'd love to highlight the impact of getting this right. So let's check in with our Clari expert, Alyssa Filter, for some metrics.
Hi, everyone. All the top SaaS companies know that having high net revenue retention is a key to their success. The best SaaS companies out there have greater than 120% net revenue retention. Why is this important? That means that if you sign no new customers in the next year, your company will still grow by 20%. The takeaway: customer success is a core revenue driver for high growth companies, and leaders should invest in building remarkable post-sales programs for a stellar customer success experience even after the contract is signed.
Thanks, Alyssa. Now, Nick, As data is critical to your business, what are the signals that you have to rely on to tell you that you have a healthy customer or that a customer might be at risk?
That idea of, okay, I want to use data to understand the health of my customers is pretty much the core of all this modern customer success stuff. As a framework, we people always often wonder, where do I start? Like, what should my health score be? And although there's no general answer because every business is different, we have a framework we recommend, which we think is actually pretty universally applicable. We call it DEAR, DEAR. So the D stands for deployment. So, they buy a product from you. Did they install it? Did they set it up? Have they deployed all the licenses, right? If they haven't, well, they're not as likely to renew. I could say that for sure. Second, the E is engagement. So are you engaged, like I said before, with that executive sponsor? When was the last time you talked to the exec sponsor in the account? Maybe it should be every 90 days. The A is adoption. Are they using the product? And not just are they using it in general, but are they using some of the advanced features of the product? And then R is ROI. Are they seeing a value, an outcome, a business metric because of what you've done? DEAR, deployment, engagement, adoption, ROI. And we think that that's actually a lot of our clients use it. Sometimes they tweak it, but I think that's a good way to kind of start in terms of health scoring.
And now, Nick, we're almost out of time, but I do have one final question for you, and it is very important. We are the forecast, and this is your forecast. So, what do you forecast for the future of customer success?
Customer success and sales are going to get much more tightly integrated together. It's going to be a little bit blurrier because, think about like a salesperson now versus 5-10 years ago. 5-10 years ago, the customer didn't know anything about the category. Salesperson's like, let me educate you on our product area. Right now, the customer, before they've gotten on the video, they've done their research on g2.com. They've talked to some friends. They watched your online demo. Maybe they did a free trial. And so the salesperson's job is still very important, but it's quite different, right? And also a lot of customers now, they buy in small bites. They don't do the big deal. They say, I'm going to land and expand. And so, salespeople, I think, are their jobs changing. And that means customer success and sales are going to have to come together.
Creating meaningful relationships with your customers creates a more meaningful business impact. And it's a beautiful thing. Thanks for joining us. Catch us next time. And until then, stay healthy, stay focused, and stay connected.